Hey Pos everybody, here we are. We're back again for the fourth and potentially the final episode of What the Heck is Going On? By this point, if you're a faithful follower, you know that we've talked a lot about how a health crisis turned into an economic crisis, how the government has tried to fix it by giving us $2 trillion to blow, but we still don't know exactly if it's gonna save the day. The topic of today is, what now? I'm gonna take out some of the bells and whistles, right? I just kinda wanna get to the point because truth be told, this day isn't so upbeat. There's a lot that's sad. There's a lot that's bad news. Since I filmed my first episode about a week and a half ago, we've seen some updates with some of the numbers we've looked at. First of all, the number of new unemployment claims last week, that's the first week in April, was 6 million more claims. You might remember that the first video we showed had 3 million claims. 6 million new claims have been filed for a total of 9 million people saying to their government, I don't have a job anymore, I need some assistance. The Federal Reserve Bank in St. Louis came out with some estimates saying that unemployment could reach as high as 38%. For context, in the Great Depression, the highest we hit was in 1933 at 25%. Now, it's not clear if this 38% estimate is an annual unemployment rate or if they estimate that it will hit that point then quickly come back down, but 38% is shocking, no matter how you slice the pie. So the question is, what's gonna happen? Now again, I don't know. I'm just like any of you. But I do have some things to compare our situation to. The Great Recession, which began in 2008 with the collapse of our banking industry, lasted anywhere from 8 to 10 years if you look at the unemployment rate. The Great Depression, which you know happens in the 1930s and is really ended but because of the way we had to mobilize to get into World War II, that took anywhere from 10 to 15 years. Are we looking at an economic recovery that could take a decade or more? We quite frankly don't know. What it might depend on is what we say is the shape of our recovery. When economists discuss an economy that's been struggling, they have a lot of different ways to describe different kinds of recoveries that economy might go through. We have economies that recover with different shapes. Sometimes we call these shapes a V-shaped recovery, or a U-shaped recovery, or even an L-shaped recovery. Well, what we like, the good ones, are the V-shaped recoveries. This is what we hope will happen. A V-shaped recovery is when you have an economy that's going along, something bad happens suddenly, but then just as suddenly the economy is able to rebound and pick up where it left off. This limits the amount of time that people are suffering through bad unemployment, and it means that things can get back to normal as quickly as possible. This is what we hope will happen in our current situation. The U-shaped economy is not so fast. What you see is the economy is going along, it takes a bad turn, and then it takes a while for it to finally get back to where it had been before. In this longer stretch, we have unemployment, families are suffering, times are tough, and it's just harder to live life in that situation for such a long time. Now, the worst of all three is called the L-shaped recovery. The L-shaped recovery is when an economy is going along, it suffers, and it never really gets back on track. It might slowly show an upward trend, but it doesn't ever really get us back to where we had been before. This is the worst kind. We don't want an L-shaped recovery. What shape will our economy take? We don't know. We hope it will be a short recovery, a V shape. It could be a longer drawn out U shape. It could be the L. We'll just have to wait and see. And in the meantime, the question of what do we do? Well, it's what we already know we need to do. We need to make sure that we're continuing to follow the directions of the people who are in authority. Even though, as we all know, there are things that are being done or being said that cause frustration or people disagree with, we also know that there are some basic things we can all be doing to try to limit the exposure we have and that we then provide to the people around us. We also need to make sure that we're enduring, we're persevering, we need to keep going. We need to be positive and support one another. And, truth be told, once we're able, we need to spend money. The money that the government is giving us, if possible, you should spend it. That's what an economy needs to get back on track. Now, I understand not everybody can do that, but anyone who is able to wisely spend money, that's what it's going to take to get on our economy to try to bounce back as fast as possible. Go out to eat once we're allowed to. Go shopping again. Do whatever you can to support businesses and to support one another. That's all for now from Mr. V's What the Heck is Going On? I hope this has been a helpful series for some of you. Maybe it's answered questions, maybe it's raised new questions. I'm always interested in talking about this stuff with anybody, so please don't hesitate to reach out and get a hold of me if you know how to do that. And overall, I've had a lot of fun making these episodes. It's helped me learn a lot about it in ways I probably wouldn't have learned if I hadn't been forced to research it for this. I would encourage you to continue to do the same. Look up what the latest news is. Try to dig into topics when you have questions about them. Overall, we will get through this. And in the meantime, thank you for watching, and we will be in touch.